For the moment, the natural world is our greatest teacher. It is wise, and we should pay close attention to it. Semi-Erlides, in his 2011 journal, states this in the conclusion. Now recently, there has been a rise of innovations specifically focused on copying nature to solve problems. Now, in the past, this science was grouped with other sciences under the titles of bionics or biometrics. But these titles didn't accurately describe what this science was trying to achieve. So now, it has been assigned its own category and its own title, identified as biomimicry. You probably haven't heard of biomimicry before, but don't worry. Before I visited the Monterey Bay Aquarium over this summer, I'd never heard of it either. But after some extensive research, I found that biomimicry has been around for an extremely long time. Take, for example, Leonardo da Vinci's early sketches of the flight machine, or the Wright brothers' early airplane models. These were all based on birds and their flight patterns. So, biomimicry's main principles are to strive for a greater efficiency and improvement by emulating nature. So today, I will be talking about transportation and how biomimicry has improved the designs of planes, trains, and cars. So sometimes, innovations originally designed for one thing can be applied to another. This is exactly what happened when one design originally intended for wind turbines is now being applied for airplanes. As the Monterey Bay Aquarium scientists explained, it all started with Professor Frank Fish walking through a statuary shop when he noticed a small humpback whale figurine. And he saw on the flippers that there were bumps on the fin. And he thought, that's rather odd, because like me, he believed that the front of the fin was to be smooth. When he brought this to the attention of the manager showed him a picture. The whales, humpback whales, specifically have bumps, also known as tubercles, on the front of their fin. Now, Wendy Holtkamp, author of Mimicking Mother Nature for the National Wildlife magazine, says that Frank Fish then took a small-scaled version of this fin with the tubercles and he placed it in a wind tunnel. He discovered that not only do the tubercles increase lift by 8%, they also decrease drag by 32%. The beauty of biomimicry is that if one principle applies to another, then these solutions and designs used for one thing can be used for numerous others. So now that I've talked a little about biomimicry in the sky with planes, I'd like to move to the ground and talk about trains. The beauty of biomimicry is that finding solutions is as easy as sitting around and looking around and asking yourself, how would nature do it? How would nature do it? In Japan, the Shinkansen bullet train is one of the fastest trains in the world, traveling up to 200 miles an hour and sometimes faster. But in the past, there was a problem. The problem was, every time the train exited the tunnel, there would be a loud booming noise that was described as thunderous and frightening. Not only did this cause a huge problem, but also when the nose of the train was pushing winds at high speeds, it created a wall of wind, greatly reducing the speed of the train. But Eiji Nakatsu, the train's chief engineer and bird enthusiast himself, he found the solution in the form of the kingfisher. He was out one day and he noticed that the kingfisher, due to its highly efficient shaped beak, was able to enter the water seamlessly without causing a single splash. He took this design and applied it to the nose of the train. Now, by doing this, Ritu Premalani, in her 2013 article, Biomimicry on the Frontiers of Design, she said that by applying this inspired nose, it completely eliminated the noise, also causing a 20% reduction in fuel consumption. This example shows how biomimicry advocates looking at nature in new ways so that we can fully understand and appreciate nature and how it helps us solve different problems. So now that I've discussed a little bit about trains, I'd like to talk about cars. One main reasons biomimicry focuses so intensely on more efficiency and greater improvements is because this often leads to pollution reduction. An excellent example of this is the Mercedes-Benz bionic boxfish car. Designers wanted to create a more aerodynamic concept car, so they looked for inspiration under the sea in the form of a fish. Now, when we think of aerodynamics, we usually think of something tear-shaped, teardrop-shaped, or like the kingfisher, more streamlined. So when many saw the picture of the boxfish, a lot of the people wanted to dismiss this idea completely. Because, I mean, look at him. He doesn't look very streamlined at all. But after looking at it and examining it, they found that this little fish, despite its cube-shaped body, is surprisingly streamlined due to its rigid body shape and strong bone structure that also remains lightweight at the same time. So therefore, it is able to escape predators and maneuver very easily. So after eliminating all the other competitors, the boxfish was the final winner. So the Mercedes-Benz modeled the car after this fish. Now after the car was completed, it was then tested. And in 2005, the Daimler Chrysler reported in an online article that this car had one of the lowest drag coefficients ever tested, with as much as 20% less fuel consumption and as much as 80% reduction in nitrogen oxide emissions, allowing this car to get about 70 miles to the gallon. Janine Benyus, in her 1997 book, author of Biomimicry, Innovation Inspired by Nature, and president of the Biomimicry Institute, states that biomimicry is just taking on a design challenge, finding an ecosystem or organism that has accomplished this challenge, and then copying it as best you can, which is exactly what the Mercedes-Benz designers did here. So today, I have talked about transportation and how biomimicry has influenced it. Through the use of biomimicry, technology we use all the time, every single day, can now have the potential to achieve a greater efficiency and improvements in design. As Janine Benyus says in her 2005 TED Talks conference, biomimicry is the conscious emulation of nature's genius.